All right, MIS 102 students, Chapter 3, Business Intelligence Systems. Business intelligence is probably a new term for you, and that's okay if it is. It's only been the past couple of years until businesses really embraced BI and started integrating BI and artificial intelligence into day-to-day operations. In the last version of our book, there was a chapter on business intelligence, but it was chapter 9 or 10. It was kind of down at the end, and it went into it in relatively decent detail, I think. But now let's move the whole way up to chapter 3. And whether or not you think the order of chapters means anything, I think there's a lot of thought into moving business intelligence the whole way up to the front of the book. So what is business intelligence? Well, at the end of the day, it's data analysis, but taking a step further. Because data analysis is a really weird science where you don't know the second question to ask until you see the answer to the first one. That alone might not make any sense to you, but think about it. If we have a small chain of stores, maybe it's just 5 or 6 clothing stores in a given geographical area. Well, we know we want to increase sales. All right, well, how do we do that? What do we need to do? Until we get all of our data from our customers, from our supply systems, from our employees, we really don't know the path we need to go. We know we want to increase sales, of course, but how do we do that? We do that by analyzing the data we have and making good decisions. BI helps us make those decisions. Obviously, it informs us. We can look at our products. What is selling quickly? What products are selling for a higher profit? Just because it sells quick, it may not be profitable. They can help us make decisions. What customers shop at each location? Looking at our customer demographic is really important because we can make custom marketing plans per store. So you can have the same store, the same clothing store, the same chain in different locations that cater to completely different demographics. Store A could have a very wealthy population attending it. Store C could have more of a lower middle class population. Knowing where our customer base is and where they shop, we can push more higher end name brands to one store knowing that they have a better chance of selling. That's not saying that your middle class store won't sell name brands. It just, statistically speaking, won't sell as much in a more wealthy neighborhood. Decisions like this can help companies save a lot of money and maximize profitability. They can help us with profit solving. Like we said, how can we increase sales? That's an open-ended question. I think that the second question is a better example for the food industry. How can we reduce food waste? We're not just talking about portion sizes. That's relatively simple to recognize and control. If all of your waiters and waitresses come back and saying, hey, the customers aren't finishing their meal, we can cut down the portion size. But what BI can really help with is analyzing your sales, bouncing it off of your menu and your ordering history. Maybe you have a dish that you're only selling 5 or 6 a week. Well, we need to cut down ordering some of those ingredients. They may spoil. If ingredient X is only used in one meal and we notice we're throwing a lot of it away, we can recater our ordering periodicity to make sure that we're not throwing away spoiled food. Finally, it can help with project management. Project management is a very, very structured science. If you're not familiar with the PMBOK guide, the project management body of knowledge, this is kind of the quote-unquote Bible for your PMP certification, project management professional. It's extremely, extremely structured, but a lot of data goes into that. So we can look at sales demographic. We can look at individual performance metrics for each stores. Do we need to expand to other locations? Is one store performing really well, but we notice that there was a lot of foot traffic? Can we expand to another location? Can we make that store bigger? What can we do to better serve our customer base? So what are some typical uses for business intelligence? Whether you realize it or not, probably within the past day, you've interacted with a business intelligence system. If you used Amazon, you've definitely used one. Amazon looks at obviously your purchase history. They look at your saved for later items. They also look at items you didn't buy. They look at searches that didn't result in sales. Why did you search for that item? Why didn't you buy it? Did you look at an item and frequently visit that page again? Where did your mouse cursor hover on that page? What kind of information can we pull from your shopping habits to either try to sell that item to you or a suitable replacement that you have a better chance of buying? Maybe you're buying many accessories for something. If we know you're buying controllers and games, well, then we have an idea of what kind of game system you have. And then we can cater your advertising for it. If you're only buying and only looking at Xbox accessories, well, maybe we don't need to advertise a Nintendo or PlayStation so much for you. Netflix also relies heavily on business intelligence. You always see at the end of your shows, or even when you log into Netflix, you may be interested in this show. And that's based off of your previous viewing habits. And the more you watch Netflix and the more diverse shows, or the more shows that you watch of a similar category, those recommended shows are actually pretty good. They know what genre you like, what actors you like, what tone of movies or shows you like. Maybe you're just a guy that constantly watches, different comedies. Well, then we know, all right, good. They're gonna love these new comedy shows. They like these actors. They like it being a certain pace, and there's a high chance that you'll watch that. We really have three primary activities in the BI process. Obviously, we have data sources, and we can get data from all sorts of areas. Companies can purchase it, we can procure it in-house, but wherever we get that data, we need to cleanse it. Not all data is usable data. How many times have you filled out a survey? Maybe you buy something and they go, oh, fill out our little survey. How many times have you filled that out and you're just kind of clicking through? You might even do this at the end of a semester. Not that you should. The idea surveys we send out, sometimes students will just go, I'll just give them fives down the whole way down in every category. Well, that's not really usable data. So we need to cleanse that data. We need to organize it and make, relation statements between all the data. And it needs to be cataloged in a way that we can pull it quickly and have a logical format for it. We need to perform analysis on all this data. This is really where AI really excels. It takes all this data and it processes it based on the inputs we give it. And then we get our results. The results can be changed a little bit. That's why we have a push-pull there. But at the end of the day, we really rely on humans to make good, sound decisions based on that data. We talked about purchasing customer data. You've probably heard about this in the news a lot. And it happens. It does. Your data is for sale all the time. When you get these big, long, readme agreements, when you sign up for websites, there is going to be a line in there, probably in legalese, but it sums to it, they may sell your data. A lot of times you'll be able to opt out of that. But this data could be something as simple as your name, age, gender, your location. Relatively open source stuff. You don't have to be, a mastermind or some hacker to find this out. You just have to go on social media. Other things that can be an invasion of privacy: your income level, your religion, your education, your voter registration. That's a very hot topic, but a topic that costs a lot and can be very valuable in certain marketing. Do you own homes? That opens up a whole world of advertisement for lawn care, Home Depot stuff, Lowe's stuff, paints. What kind of vehicles do you have? If you only drive Jeeps, why am I going to advertise Chevy parts to you? What are your hobbies? Clothing manufacturers and, Retailers love your height, weight, hair color, eye color. How can we market clothing that not only will fit this individual, but will complement their physical characteristics? All this leads into AI, artificial intelligence. Well, what is AI? Well, AI is the ability of a machine to simulate, keyword, simulate human abilities, vision, communication, learning, decision making. On a personal note, I don't really like the word learning. A machine, you can argue this, and there's many different schools of thought on it, but a machine doesn't really learn. It takes inputs and it varies its outputs based on those inputs in a very fundamental viewpoint that is learning. I just personally don't prefer the term learning when we're talking about artificial intelligence, and that gets into a whole ethics conversation that we can go on for hours with. But where is AI used? Well, obviously it's used in robots, commercial drones. Forestry services will have AI drones that will go out and take pictures and measurements of the land to help cultivate and preserve wildlife spaces. Same thing with farm systems. There's a lot of AI being put into tractors and other farming equipment to help farmers make very sound decisions. Military platforms, AI drones, AI scouts. These are helping saving service members' lives performing dangerous tasks. Surgical systems, helping our physicians make really good medical judgments in high stress environments. AI is everywhere and it's becoming more prominent. We talked before briefly examples of AI. Amazon uses it, Netflix uses it, Facebook uses it. The Facebook AI is very good at targeting advertisement. If you take my Facebook feed and my wife's Facebook feed side by side, and you ignore posts from our friends, it's almost like two different networks. The ads that we see are completely different. The experience we have is completely different because Facebook knows what I want to see. Facebook knows the ads that I will likely click on, the things that I will likely buy. And those aren't necessarily things that my wife would click on or buy. And every company does this. Google does it, Microsoft does it, Apple does it. And each one of them does it to a different level of success. I think you can argue that Amazon has really taken AI by the horns and has really succeeded in it compared to everybody else. Google and Facebook are a very close second to Amazon. So what kind of productivity gains do we get from automation? Well, as I'm sure you come to your own conclusion by now, an AI system can work indefinitely. It doesn't need breaks. It doesn't need holidays. It doesn't waste time. An AI system will never sit working on the clock, browsing Facebook or talking with its coworkers. It's only doing its job, and it'll do its job more accurate and quicker than you ever will. So will this affect you? It may. The book says by 2025, we can have 100 million workers could be taken out of the U.S. workforce and replaced by AI because these machines are smarter than us. They perform tasks quicker than us, and they do it with no supervision and no errors. And at the end of the day, this is more profitability for our organizations. And the last line, that's really good. Computers don't complain about what job they do. If a drone's flying over a farmland all day in the heat, just taking measurements, it doesn't care. But if you did the same thing with a human in a helicopter or a small lightweight aircraft, they're going to complain. This after a while, this will get old and their performance will drop. AI has evolved over the years, and it even evolves depending on the tasking. We talk about weak AI focused on a single task, going the whole way up to super intelligent systems. Really, to sum it up, AI is everywhere, and it's not going away, and it's catered to many, many different taskings. I hope this covers Chapter 3 for you. If you have any more questions, please let me know, and keep up the good work. Thank you.